Happy Wednesday night. I am Hallie Sherman from Speech Time Fun, and I am here on my Wednesday night for Tips and Tricks night to share with you my 3 ways that I like to indirectly work on social skills, and I find that it shows much better results in carryover. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How is everyone doing? Will you put an emoji, something if you are on spring break? An emoji, something, or a heart if you're on spring break. I am officially on spring break. We are off for a week. I am so excited. Never needed it more. Sadly, no. Oh no. Hopefully you don't have too much longer. If it makes you feel any better, we have a very short spring break. So, makes you feel any better. So close, Friday. Oh, you're almost there. You can do it. Hopefully some of these ideas are things that you can do for the rest of this week and that you can easily justify why you are playing some of these games. So hopefully I can give you some ideas that if any administrator says, hey, why are you playing Uno? You can say, well, I am working on social skills. So, hey. All right, let's get started. Hi everyone, how is everyone doing? I am Hallie Sherman and I am from Speech Time Fun, and I am here on Wednesday night for my usual Wednesday night Periscope tips and tricks. I come on every Wednesday to share with you some quick ideas that you can try out tomorrow that, you know, don't need to go grab anything. You can use what you have and you can easily work on so many speech and language goals. That's what I'm here on Wednesday nights to do. So today we're going to not work on anything. We're going to talk about social skills. Unless I'm working on like teaching emotions or perspective taking and specific or turn taking or conversational skills, I like to do it indirectly. I don't know about you. I find unless I'm like introducing a new skill or feel like I need to like scratch what I'm doing to address something in the moment, I find that if I arrange my lesson and my therapy session, I arrange my therapy session to incorporate some ideas so that my students can work together, then I find they have a better and interact with each other. I find I do a better job of working on some social skills indirectly. I don't know about you, comment below. In my school, a lot of the social groups are done by the school psychologist and the social worker. Am I the same? I don't know. Let me know. Put a comment below. Are you guys the same way? For me, that's the way it's done in my district. It just helps, with our numbers. Same. Okay, so a lot of times, the only students that I see that have real, true social skills are if the students are in a life skills class and have other language issues. So those are the students that I would deal with that would also have social skills issues and I'd be working on. But some other students, we have an inclusion. Okay, exactly. So I might be doing it indirectly where they might be doing it in a more focused manner because my groups are more language based and we're working on auditory comprehension and vocabulary. So that's why I like to do it indirectly. A lot of my students, they go home and they're sitting in front of a computer or just watching TV and they have no interaction with anyone. So I like to force them to interact with each other, whether it's using, some of my products that have, that are just more game format. That's one way to interact. A lot of my students can't handle if they're losing. They break down and cry if they lose. And I like to set up the game so that it's luck. It has nothing to do with whether you got the answer right or wrong. You picked the number out of the hat. It had nothing to do with me. And I let them see. Sometimes I set it up. I have set up Candyland so that like after a certain amount of, trials and articulation, the kid got to the castle. I have set it up before. I've been known to do that. But a lot of times I let my students see me like shuffling the cards. This way they know I didn't rig it. I had nothing to do with it. So that's something I like to do. Sometimes I like to play the game too, to show them I'm losing. It's okay. How do you think I'm feeling? I just lost. You just won. So that's something I like to do, is I like to participate in the game itself. Okay, so What else do I like to do? I like to have my students be forced to and held responsible to listen to each other's responses when we're working on, vocabulary on an auditory comprehension task. It is important. I have a lot of students, when you're dealing with a group and you're trying to focus on helping one student and work with them, I like the rest of the crew to be listening, and I give them sometimes like the paper so that they can like keep a score or, listen for something in particular. Do you ever work on gloating? Yes, definitely. Because I have students, the same students that cry are the ones that are cheering and like, ha, 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 I win, I win, I win. So that's why sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I sometimes rig it. Or, oh no, we ran out of time. No time to count the points. We'll count it next time. So that's one thing sometimes I do if I know it's going to get out of hand and I don't have time. The next group is coming on in. I'm like, sorry guys, I don't have time to count the points. We'll do it next time. And they usually forget. So that's one thing I do when I have a gloater. A lot of times, like I will role play and I'll say, exactly. And sometimes, like if I have a TA in the room, with the group, I tell them ahead of time, say there's an emergency and we gotta go, so that's one thing I like to do. Although that's not helping them solve the situation, sometimes it just helps me. But another time I'll role play and be like, how do you think it makes, how do you feel? What exactly? It's called like creating natural small problems. And I will sometimes set up the situation so that I will lose, so that, and then I'll say, and I'll act like they are. And they totally, I say, what did you notice? And we'll get the dry erase board going. Okay, I was cheering for me. I didn't say good game for everyone else. And then you can go over what is the appropriate behavior at the end of a game. A lot of times they all say, oh, but they all are upset that someone won and someone didn't win. I always let the winner clean up. I don't know about you. That's what I like to do. So I make it seem like it's not a great prize. So this way no one really wants to win. That's what I like to do. I just hand them all the cards and you're cleaning up. And the rest of the group quickly gets over the fact that they lost. So that's one thing. An extra sticker reward for the loser. Exactly. That's another way to do it. If you reward everyone else, I always show them even at the beginning of the game, we can review. Okay, it's just a game. It's just for fun. What are we learning here today? We're not learning about winning or losing. We are learning about main idea, inferencing. So as long as you are learning those things, everyone's going to get a prize, whether or not you win or lose. It's just for fun. Would you rather, and I always say, would you rather do a worksheet? And quickly they get over the fact that, they're winning or losing. I have a student that before the game even begins, she goes, so who's winning? And I have to remind her that the game didn't start. It's not about winning or losing, and it's just for fun. And I always have to say, asked and answered. You asked me once, you can ask me that again. And so it really depends on knowing the student and what works. Like I said, I have one student that will cry and in a drop of a hat if he is quickly losing. I have another one that will ask if she's winning when the game didn't even start yet. So as long as you know what you're dealing with, it can easily help you guide and decide whether or not you're going to end the game abruptly, if you're going to rig it so that you win, if you are going to, what's the prize, something really bad, or you're going to just tell everyone, okay, as long as you do the A, B, and C, everyone's the winner. So that's one thing. You can also do, before you start a game, you can role play, okay, how are we going to do this? We're going to take turns, okay, that's appropriate. Okay, if you win, what are we going to say to the winner? Okay, we're going to congratulate them. If I'm the loser, how am I going to feel? I'll be proud as long as I tried, right? As long as it's not like we're not bowling, we're not playing football. It has nothing to do with skill. It's all about picking the card and whether or not, and yes, a lot of times, so that's what I like to do in terms of setting it up and having them listen to each other, interact with each other, whether it's a learning game, whatever it is. Another thing I like to do is have them work together for a task. And this forces them to, share ideas. They have to, think about what the other person, those sneaky dice rolls. I do have a rule, one is no fun. They seem to like that one. So if they, so I do have students that always seem to get the one, whatever it is. Even I have a electronic spinner, they always get a one. So I always have the rule, one is no fun, and I let them go again. That is one rule of mine. But I also, they have to show me their role. Because I have students that will like, drop it, okay. I'm like, no. That's also why I do recommend, Super Duper has a electronic spinner. It's hard to get a sneaky roll that way. So depending on the game and the students, knowing what you're dealing with, there's also a whole bunch of free apps where you can just have a dice on there and they can shake the dice. Any way to like make it so that if you have someone, I also have students that are always making the dice fall on the floor. They're always allowed one drop on the floor rule. That's it. Exactly. I also have, from the dollar store, they have little containers. I don't know if you've seen it on Pinterest, and they can shake the dice in there. This way it doesn't go anywhere. It's harder to see, and in this way, if I don't hear the noise of the plastic, you didn't really roll. So that's a whole bunch of rules. And most of the time, the other students rat that person out. It's not even me. So that's, and they learn quickly that they don't want to mess with their peers. So that's one thing, using the little thin, right? Either the plastic containers so they can shake in there, using an electronic spinner, a dice app, any way to help that. And the one is no fun rule. This way they kind of like don't get upset by, oh, I got a one again. Well, you get to go again. So this way, it's another thing to try. So there's a whole bunch of games that I like to use where they get to work together. Whether it's Suspend by Melissa and Doug, they can work, although it's usually an individual game, they can work together to try to get all the pieces to stay on top. So I like to have them talk it out. That was hard. Try to listen. It is a hard game, and that's why I find if they work together versus separately, they become more successful. Like I found a lot of them were like, oh, put the piece over here and not here, and they were helping each other out. And I told them as long as everyone gets the pieces on, everyone's a winner. So this way, no one is a winner. Everyone's a winner, and they are forced to work together. And this way, and there's so much language that's being addressed without even playing a learning game. They're just talking to each other, figuring out strategies, and then they're having to problem solve together. And a lot of times in their classrooms, they're forced to work on group projects and all different types of tasks that they're forced to do. They're supposed to do like peer talk, like talk and share. So it's good in the speech room to practice those things, like talk to your peer and ask them a question. What do they not know? And ask and answer each other a question. And even like having different roles. Like you can say you're going to be the recorder, you're going to be the speaker, and you're going to be the something. And this way, if everyone has a different role, they know what they're going to do. And that's something that the teachers are doing, and you can practice that with your language-based activities. So another last thing that I want to say that I like to do is role-playing, which I've said all along. But you can role-play stories that you read, whether it's a storybook like, The Paper Bag Princess. Students can role-play, the dragon, the prince, and the princess. How are they feeling? How are they acting? How did they act in the beginning versus the end? What character traits can you describe them? How can you act that way to get to be that character trait? So there you're working on your comprehension skills. They're working on social skills because they have to interact with each other while they're role-playing. And then they're also just building their comprehension and vocabulary and all the above. So those are many ways that I like to indirectly. Okay, any tips for those kids? I found the best thing is to find what motivates them. If it's the color blue, if it's a sport, if it's a game. And you might have some kids, you might have to get motivation. And some kids might not be able to attend to a 30-minute task. And as long as you get okay with that, I find that I have better results. Like I have a student who can attend for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So, and he's in a group of 3. So I have him work, drill for 2 minutes while the other kids are working on something independently. And then he gets his reward, and then I focus on the other 2. It's not the best situation, but it's the only way that I can get him to focus for the 2 minutes that I can get. Versus him throwing, cursing. A lot has happened. So that's an extreme. But finding how long can you hold their attention? And what can you do? Do they need a fidget? Do they need to get up? I have a student that wants to always stand. And she knows that as long as she gets her work done, she can get up and walk around. Go up, get up and walk around. As long as, I don't really have even much room for her to walk around, but I let her get up and walk around. She stretches. She can't sit still. She can't. And I recognize that. And she always knows she can't just get up. She has to ask, can I get up? And as long as she did her work and it's not an avoidance, that I find is the big trick here. As long as it's not avoidance, and when they come back from their reward or stretch, bathroom break, whatever it is, they have to finish the task. They didn't get out of it. So that's what's been benefiting me, because a lot of students they can't attend. So it's really, and like I have students that, wouldn't do anything. I've taken a reading comprehension on a football player that they like, and I got them sitting there with their, glued to it. A reading comprehension worksheet. I hate worksheets, but they attended because it was a person that they liked. I found I had to do my research and find something. I had to ask around my building. A lot of people had some resources I was able to borrow from, and that was how I dealt with that one student. So sometimes if you're at your wit's end, and the teacher doesn't have any tips for you, ask the kid, what do you want to work for? Is my, some students, I have a student that wanted to work for doing the data for me. That's what she wanted to work for. I'm like, okay, you do your work, then you can take over and do the data. That's what you want to do. I have students that at the end, they just want to draw all over my dry erase board. Go for it. As long as we did A, B, and C, have fun. So I hope I answered some of your questions, and I will definitely take them into consideration for future tips and tricks night. I hope I gave you some ideas. Use their strengths and their passions exactly to work on their challenges. You are so welcome. Thank you for tuning in on Wednesday night's Tips and Tricks Night with Speech Time Fun. And I will see you next week. And I'm going to be tomorrow on SLP Blogger Live. So I will see you there. And I'm going to give you some fun ideas of things you can do using things you have in your therapy room. Don't have to you already have it. I'm going to show you some fun, quick ideas that when you are struggling to make it to spring break, you can throw these out. You are so welcome. Enjoy the rest of your night. Take care. See you tomorrow night on SLP Blogger Live. Take care. Bye-bye.